Well, hello, my name is Rick Murphy. Pleased to be here with you all, and also pleased to represent the Wireless LAN Advisory Board as your president, and with me, Vice President Alan Blake, and the originator, one of the three minds behind how we've come to be here with the Wireless LAN Advisory Board. Just a quick status report. It shouldn't take too long. I just wanted to apprise everybody of the condition we're in now, where we started, what we've done in this past year, what we're going to do this coming year, what we hope to do in the future, and maybe a peek at what our target goal is. To begin with that, let's just take a quick look at how we got here. So, Alan, you reminded me that you actually brought this idea up in 2014 WLPC in UK.
Maastricht.
And where? Austria?
Maastricht, Netherlands.
Netherlands.
That was the first European conference, yeah.
And was it essentially the seed for your presentation then at 2015 Dallas?
Exactly that, yeah. So basically I had an idea, and for me to have an idea, I'm usually the one that's late to the party. So for me, I thought other people would have already thought about this. So when I came to Maastricht, I presented an idea that we should be validating surveys more often than we probably not. And then it kind of dawned on me it would be great to have a kind of an accreditation standard that ensured that the validation process actually happened. And then after presenting my idea, yeah, it was great. And then took it to Dallas, because I'm glad it did, because I think Dallas, it just kind of took off. And yeah, it resonates with everybody here that we do need some sort of standards, design standards, that kind of thing. So it was a concept that so I just think I just planted the seed, and now we're kind of seeing it grow, so.
And then when you planted the seed at Dallas in 2015, were you surprised to see Devin follow you shortly afterwards and speak on essentially the same thing, right? Same ideas, a little bit different target goals, but was that a surprise, or did you know that?
Of course it was. I mean, when someone like Devin Aiken kind of has a similar idea to you, you know you're doing something right yourself. You're thinking along, with the same logic. And his idea was pretty much the same as mine, but his was about how we executed it rather than the theory behind how we get there and everything else. So it was taking the seed, pouring the water on, and then letting it kind of sprout out and grow in a different manner. It was great.
Very visual. I can picture that. And then Devin put together basically a well thought out blueprint of how the Wireless LAN Advisory Board, at the time considered the assessment board, would kind of grow. And I liked the beginning, the way he presented this. He said, we've been talking, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we've been talking as a group for years about trying to come together. We come to these conferences, and we see these fantastic presentations by all of you, by the membership body. And everybody has ideas on how we can improve wireless LAN, how we can standardize, how we can all take the best efforts of each other and put them together and share them, number one. But have you noticed over the years, we see all these good ideas coming across, and there's no collection point. There's no way to assemble them into a logical catalog of all these good ideas, and watch as they progress, as they evolve. You know what I'm saying about that?
Yeah. So it's almost like we need a virtual paperclip, right? So we can just collate it all together. And I hope this is what the advisory board is going to achieve.
And that is what we hope to achieve. And Devin, do you still feel the same way with your ideas? Do you think?
An idea is worthless if you don't do anything about it, and these guys have executed on it. So I haven't participated hardly at all. I just haven't had the time. But they've really taken this to the next level, and the documents are there, the website's there, and they've taken this idea and made something real out of it, and that's what really matters. We can talk all day about this is a good idea and that's a good idea, but doing something about it and putting your time and your back into it, that matters, and these guys have done that. So I applaud both of you for the great work.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Devin. I mean, there are organizations out there already, IEEE, IETF, the Wi-Fi Alliance, but there's no one out there representing wireless LAN professionals, right? There's nothing. So it's nice to have one that is serving our own engineers, our own professionals, and it's a voice. It's putting us we get a seat at the big boys table now, right? So, we've got a lot of expertise in this room, a lot of expertise. So, this is an organization, by wireless LAN professionals for wireless LAN professionals, and that's really what it's here to represent.
And to speak on Devin's comment, I consider it a labor of love and a work in progress that's on baby steps, but we've had so much support from the community. So many people have stepped up, given of their time. Several in this room have just contributed above and beyond. And that's why we've, what I think, accomplished a lot in just a short time. So really, I think it was last year at WLPC that we really started to take these steps. And the last one up here was Keith, had an awful lot to add at the very end of the presentation. And Keith, do you still feel that we are following through with the original blueprint and plan, or we're on the right track?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's great to hear. It's a good endorsement.
Okay, so with that, I'd like to give you just an overview, real quick. The blueprint, and I'm going to use your metaphor, Devin. Devin said in his presentation, you can talk about this forever, but until somebody goes out and digs a hole, pours a foundation, starts to raise walls, puts a roof on it, and as people start to jump in and add, I know how to frame in a building, I don't know how to pour concrete, and that's the metaphor you gave us, and I've used that throughout this. So the blueprint actually came in 2014, 2015, and that's when it all started. Then digging the foundation part was really from last year, WLPC, until today, 2016. And following that, we got started by coming together. First, a couple of emails flew back and forth. Then a Slack channel opened up. Next thing you know, we've got go-to-meeting meetings going on weekly. And by the way, we meet every Monday. One of the committees, our general membership meeting, is the first Monday of every month. 1700 UTC?
It varies.
It's on the slide. We'll check it out. And participate. It's go-to-meeting, so it's fine. And so that's what we did this year is what I want to share with you. What is happening in 2017, we feel like we finally got the foundation in place. We're ready to start raising walls. And need a little help with that. Any framers out there, carpenters, we can use you. And 2018 and beyond, that's really when we're starting to look at what Devin's and your final targets were, where we actually get to the point where we've gained the chops, where we've got credibility from the industry, that people are looking at us and say, oh yeah, I've heard of you and I've heard good things about you. I'm going to give you a shot. I'm going to take your word for it. And you know who that is? All of us. So let's take a look and see what we've done so far. Okay, excuse all. So you see right away, I see Devin. When Devin and I were working on CWNA version 3 back in 05, Devin said to me, I don't want to see any bullet points on any slides. You shouldn't need to have bullet points. Sorry, Devin, sometimes you gotta have a few bullet points. So here we go. So digging the foundation, this was what has happened in 2016. We formed the membership body. We formed the rules committee. And the Rules Committee has been under Alan's tutelage, and we now have a basic set of rules for conducting our meetings and having votes, even straw polls, and the procedures and the policies. Would you say?
Absolutely. So it's like an operations manual. So how you conduct yourself within, how we're structured, within the organization. What is a member? What is expected of you? How to conduct yourselves? That kind of thing. And again, there are other items in there which, it's a work in progress, it's a living document, so we are going to continue to expand on that. But in this information, you're going to find things like, as I mentioned, it's things like, how do you get onto some of the committees? How can you get on to, say, maybe the executive committee? So we specified criteria. So to give this management team a bit of authority, we came up with the decision that, every single member on the executive committee or the management team should be CWNE at a minimum. That was a criteria that was specified by the members because it kind of raised the bar of those at the helm steering the ship. They've achieved the certification that's well respected, certainly amongst all our peers, whether or not it's global. But the point is, that's one of the decisions that were made. And it's information like this, which is stipulated in this handbook. So it gives new members the information and a bit of a background as well. And also, again, procedures and various things like this. So it's pretty much self-explanatory. But like I say, it's a living document. We're working. There's a lot more to add to it. So, for those existing members who've seen it, stand by for the potential new members that I see in here. Yeah, we welcome you. And yeah, so just let you know it's a work in progress document.
One caveat on what you just said, it's true that CW&E is required for a certain level, but you shouldn't think that we're an exclusive group on that. Number one, some of the best engineers I know have no certifications whatsoever. They just are really, really good at doing the job and have been for many years, and they are welcome in this organization as well, and will be treated with same level we'd treat CW&E. Those of you who are in the program now, we want to encourage you to continue because we still think it's the best benchmark of the theoretical side and the vendor neutral side of learning and training and understanding what's going into a Wi-Fi network. But with that said,
just to note as well, we might be good at Wi-Fi, but we're not exactly brilliant at running an organization either, all right? So it's not perfect. Yeah, there are some bits we get wrong, but we correct it, but we understand. And so it's, it's all new to us too. Okay, we are engineers at heart. So yeah, I just want to add that in just very quickly.
So all of our organization has been from the perspective of engineering. Everything looks like a problem that needs to be solved, and that's kind of the long way around, but we're getting there, I think you'll see. So next up is the providing the communications mechanisms, and we started with a Slack channel, and Slack, we use that as a instant and ad hoc type of forum for communications, and that's very important to our discussions. Discussions pop up and then they kind of disappear, but we can always track back on them. And then we have a Google Docs section, and this is where the documents that we're creating, and really that's one of our main, if not our main purpose, one of them, is to create these standards documents. And this Google Docs environment gives us a collaborative area where we can go in and do versioning on the documents, and we can add and comment, track changes and things like that. And it's a very, very easy to access way to do this. We think it beats downloading a file, marking it up in Word, tracking changes, sending it back up, and then an editor having to interleave all these changes back into place. We can kind of do it right online and inline. So that's why we're using that. We have GoToMeeting as our meeting choice. We have a 50 user license at this time, and that's been sufficient for any of our meetings at this point. You should know that we had 85 members, I think, and we had to cap it off right after Budapest because there was a lot of interest. So yeah, as soon as somebody starts showing interest, we want to we want to close the doors, right? No, we really want to get the doors open, but we didn't have a good way to bring new members to onboard everybody in, and that was a big part of why we've been working so hard on the website. So. Next, we've email hosting. Alan, you're taking care of that, and the web presence itself. And I'm real glad to say we are very, very close to having the website. The website has been a work in progress. A lot of people have contributed to it. Everybody on the EC, other members have put efforts into it, and I want to thank everybody from Blake and everybody who has helped with that effort. And we're very close to turning it up. We wanted to have it ready for today. It wasn't quite finished. And we think that the privacy policy isn't ready. All the mechanics are working. We're ready to start onboarding, and we can have that go live shortly, and you'll all be able to hit it. And I think we can handle as many requests as needed, from 1 to several hundred. And it's taken a lot of the manual work. So and Alan's going to go over the steps a little bit later, so I won't let the cat out of the bag on that. And then this year we've also formed our technical committee, which is the one that's responsible for producing the efforts of this Wireless LAN Advisory Board, which are at this time twofold. That is to create a set of standardized documentation for the design deployment of wireless LANs, but we're also addressing other needs that we see. And one of the other needs that we've identified is to have a unified and expandable dictionary of Wi-Fi terms. How many of you were at LDAD's presentation this morning? How many new terms popped out? You know, we've got to track this, and we've also got to have a concerted effort to all agree on what these terms mean. Because in a technical industry such as ours, it's the terms, the gobbledygook, the gibberish, if you will, that is the lingua franca that we all talk to each other by. And if we're talking the same language, we're getting our ideas across. But if we're talking two different ideas of what this term means, there's a disconnect there. So that's a very important project.
So just one classic example of that I see constantly, even amongst my own peers, is survey. Hands up those who say, I'm going to go do a survey, when you actually mean a design. Oh, just me. I'm joking. I don't do that. I just normally try to convince others to do that. But it's the thing, it's the way we use the term survey when actually we don't really mean survey, we mean design. So it's just making sure, as I say, the language is the same thing, and that's what the this dictionary, as it's kind of known as, that's the purpose. And there are any new terms as well that we kind of generate from, you know, the presentations that we had this morning with the new protocols. So any new terms that come out of there, again, we're going to stick them in our kind of dictionary so that, again, we can use them so we're not just making them up as we go along. So I just want to get that in.
No, good. And with the technical committee came a whole program that I'm going to reserve towards the last. I'm going to have Alan talk because he's kind of the father of the sweep concept, which is our paradigm for which all of our code name books and documentation falls underneath. So that's coming up. And then, thank you, Keith, for getting us incorporated and making us a legal entity, a nonprofit corporation. As of November 23rd is the date that it looks right. So as of that, we are officially in business and for business, but not for profit. So that means that if funds are generated, collected, or received in some manner, they will be redispersed for the good of the philosophies, I guess you'd say, of the Wireless LAN Advisory Board. And that was what we've done so far. So I think that's a pretty good start for less than 1 year, but we're just getting started. So here's what we're looking for 2017. We will continue with the technical committees, and we'll continue with the sweep development. That's our project of the code books, the code names red, blue, white, and green, and continue that development. Probably won't get them all finished up this year, but we will have all 4 of those documents being worked on in parallel. And we will continue with the AB dictionary. Rules committee still has work to do. And this year, now this is kind of a surprise to the EC. I'm going to ask the EC to consider starting another committee, and this will be our quality committee. And under quality is where we'll start to set the benchmarks and the levels that we expect to be achieved by a proper wireless LAN design. How do we measure a wireless LAN design? So it's one thing to build a standard and say, here's how we all agree. Generally, we accept these practices, but it's another thing to have a yardstick to measure the completed work against. And that has to come from another working group that we need members, we need volunteers to help with that. And that will be the quality committee. Surprise.
But we'll talk about it, yeah?
We'll talk about it. And let's see. And then also something that's been near to my heart is forming either a labs committee or making a labs committee as part of the quality, possibly technical. So you can see we're a little loose on that one yet. And the idea here, and this may not need to be a separate committee. We may be able to just work with some of the lab projects that are going out. Keith, you've got several great lab projects in place, and several others. Mike, I heard the things you were asking for, and I think the results of that could feed back into our area. So if there's any way for us to work together on that, great. And many of the rest of you have brought up Brian, several others. So keep that in mind and think about how we can, the labs are important for establishing the baselines for quality. I mean, it's one thing to have baselines, but you need to prove that they work and that they're meaningful. Anything to add on that? No. And then in 2018. So that's what we're going to probably try to accomplish this year that we're in. And next year, raising the roof, we hope to actually be completed on some of our documentation. Although these will probably always be works in progress and need updates, because right about this amount of time here in 2018, we can expect to be seeing, I think, the beginnings of the effects of IoT, which I think is going to be a major player along about then. And also, I believe that probably cellular offload is probably going to start to show some effects on us too. Fortunately, from what I heard this morning, there are some solutions that we may be able to work into our designs coming from high efficiency wireless in 802.11ax, which will be close to a draft status at that point. I think Eldad said 2019 maybe it'll be in the marketplace. So if that's true, then we'll be right in lockstep with those developments. Rules Committee will still be working on the rules at that point. Sure. And the Quality Committee hopefully will be able to publish an assessments benchmarks level and possibly help to put together a defining wireless LAN industry project. And that's our plan going forward. So does that all sound okay to you? Because this is your project too. Yeah? Easy crowd.
Silence
right?
is golden. So
Alan, I'd like you to give some evidence of some of the things that we've been working on, if you...
Sure, so one of the concepts, I suppose, take a step back. One of the things we need to do, so we need to standardize, but it's the case of, well, what do we standardize? How do we standardize? And whatever we standardize, we all need to agree upon, don't you think? And we don't want to make it too complicated, too complex. We want to standardize something that's quite simple. So one of the, I suppose, the thought process behind it was, well, what is it that we all do that is the same, irrespective of the environment, the design, the technology, or the vertical that we do. And it was quite simply an idea of coming together to think of, well, first off, there's an approach, a process that we haven't defined that is the right process to do Wi-Fi. And it was something that I spoke about with the IBWave guys last year on a webinar, and it was a concept called SWEEP. And all SWEEP is a staged wireless LAN enterprise engineering process. It's just the process that identifies what you need to be doing to do good Wi-Fi design. And it's very, 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 very simple. It's to do an assessment, which is your pre-site surveying, as a legacy term I'm going to use there. Then we do the design. So the assessment is gathering the requirements, quite simply, right? And how we gather requirements is pretty much, in every type of wireless LAN design requirement that we have. Once we've got the requirements, what do we do with that? Well, we then do the design based on the requirements. Once we've done the design, what do we do next? Well, we give it to the installers and off they go and install. What do we do once it's all been installed? Well, we've got to validate this, haven't we? So a very, very simple process, but it should be the same irrespective of any vertical, any technology type that we're going to be working on. Whether you're in a, we've listed some. So basically the idea was, this is kind of deemed what I call the common theme, okay? And it's very, very simple to, I think, to define. And the way we're going to be defining that is by working on books. And they've been categorized quite simply. And these are the books that we're working on. So the red book's going to equal the assessment, the blue book, the design, and so on and so forth. And the idea is we just keep it very, very simple. It's standardized, something that we can all agree on. Once we've agreed on all of that, and it's just a generalistic view, then we rope in the guys who've got the healthcare experience. Then we rope in the guys who've got, working on airplanes or in salt mines in Canada, for God's sake. We get your experience, and we then ask you to help us write a standard for gathering requirements for those types of environments that isn't, generic across the board, how we design for those requirements, how we install, and how we validate those requirements as well. So that's what we're looking for, and that's where we get into what we call the specific theme. And it's all kind of interlinked and all intertwined. So we have a common theme, which is the very, very simple generic basics, and then we work into the specific theme, which is more geared around what environments we actually work in, or the types of technology that we're trying to deliver for. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's not rocket science. I think it's very, very easy to deliver this. And this is what we're working on. And this is something that we're producing right now in the technical committee. And just as a side as well, the dictionary of terms, again, this is the language that we all want to speak in and stuff like that. So pretty much it. Any questions, gentlemen? I mean, do you agree? Is this something that's deliverable in your mind? If it isn't, say so. Later on this evening, we're going to have a bit of a workshop, 8 o'clock in here, and we're going to have a technical committee discussion. So it's going to be like we have on a go-to meeting or any other technical committee meeting. Now, we invite you all to attend and see for yourself how we conduct business, but I guarantee if we've got 100 people, there's going to be a lot of voices. But this is what we want. We want your opinions, and we'd love to have a brainstorming session. We want to know what requirements you ask for. Do you ask the same thing? Do you ask the same thing? Do you ask the same thing? Great. So there's more, there's a large percentage. So therefore, we think it's a generic standard that needs to be identified. If you work in a specific environment or you work in a specific environment, well, there's no correlation between the two. So we'll keep them in the specific theme, but we can work on that later. So that's the reason for tonight's little workshop. And I would love to see as many of you as you possibly can. I know it's going to be a long day, but if you can be here, that'd be fantastic. And we'll just do some brainstorming. We'll do some technical discussion, and we'll just listen. And it's all about collaboration, gentlemen. It really is, and ladies. So tonight we'd love to see you. I really would.
And so the screen that we have up right now shows the documents. These we've termed them as books and give them code names: code red, code blue, code white, code green, and code red, or the red book currently is approaching first draft status. And those of you who are in the technical committee will have access to review and work on it. So that's kind of a requirement. We don't want to just put out half-done documentation that somebody might inadvertently take thinking that it's approved and that this is the way things are to be done. Until it's fully vetted, fully finished off, voted in, we'll be bringing it to the general membership when it's ready for voting and approval, just like they do in IEEE. And once that probably will fail once or twice, we'll have comments come back in. We'll try to rework the comments and address the issues from all of the membership. Once that's done, then it'll go out to final vote. And once it's finally approved and published, it'll be available to the members of the Wireless LAN AB for you to use as your guideposts to put out wireless LANs. This isn't something we're going to offer to the general public. It's going to be for the membership only. At least that's the thinking at this time. So Red Book is nearing first draft status, but what Alan was referring to is we're at the point now we want to gather as many ideas, and thank you for this idea, Keith, as many ideas on requirements. What are all the requirements? And then let's look at specialized requirements, set them aside to a later version, and what can we generally accept? What are, no matter what type of wireless LAN, what are some of the general principles that are always best practices? And that's where we'll start and move forward from there. And those of you who are members now should be receiving our newsletter, The Beacon, and as you can see, the beacon is distributed by email. It goes out every 2,654,208,000 kilomicroseconds if you want to track it. And the next one will be out the Sunday before our next general membership meeting, if that works, if that's easier to keep track of. And this is a sneak peek into our new website. And Alan, would you like to walk us through this?
Yeah, sure. So again, we would love to have presented the website to you today, but I think first impressions are key. So this is just a bit of a tease, a sneak peek of the website itself. And one of the main things with the website is all about the functionality. How easy is it for you to join the Wireless LAN Advisory Board. Previously, it was a manual process. It was a bit cumbersome. So this, we hope, makes the process a lot smoother and takes the burden off the administrators here. So we have a website, and the way it'll work, basically, if I just check my notes, the idea is that when the website's published, you can go there. So hands up those of you who are currently members. How many hands up those of you who want to be members? Really? Come on, get these hands up. So those of you who are members, you're going to need to redo this, okay? So that's what we ask. So just click on the join button. What'll happen, you'll have an email fired off, so we ask you to verify your email address. If I just quickly jump to the next slide. So so when you click, they'll have a general member registration form we'll ask you to complete and fill out. You'll then probably receive an email verifying your registration details, I believe. Once you've clicked, you'll then pretty much join, and then you'll be get into a portal, a members page. And it's going to be here where we're going to have it just pounded with so much information, okay? So here is where you can ask and request to join the technical committees of your choosing, whether you want to get involved in certain technical aspects, whether you want to help produce the red book, the blue book, the green book, or whether or not you want to get involved in help producing the operations manual because you've got expertise or you've got experience in it, you know? And you want to help run the organization. You know, this is where you guys can actually get involved. The idea then is once you click to join the committee, the current chair of the technical committee is Ronald, and the vice chair being Rick. Those guys will basically be the ones that approve you in or out. So either give them lots of money or buy them lots of beer tonight if you want to be in, your choice. But that's pretty much the basics and the functionality of how we hope it'll work. What we'll also see is a Slack option to join. So those of you who are already in Slack will know what Slack is, a messaging app. You guys can literally click the link and you can register your details, or you can click to join the, what they call groups, channels, that is currently the advisory board's group channels. And there you can pretty much discuss to your heart's content with everybody else and other members. And use Slack just to talk with anything like water cooler gossip, anything that's on your mind in terms of, I don't mean your personal problems or your marriage issues, I mean, you know, anything that's Wi-Fi related that maybe you don't have access to, you know? So, you know, if there's people in there who might be able to help you with a problem, that's what we're here to help you guys solve, all right? So that's pretty much it, I think, in terms of, that's pretty much it and what to expect. And that's going to be for everybody. So hopefully it'll be a really, really good process, and we'll continually add content. We'll probably change a few things, but that's something to look forward to. And we'll send out an email to you all, hopefully via Keith, to let you all know when we are live. And then we just welcome you and look forward to seeing you on the meetings and any questions and things like that, really.
And the next general membership meeting is, as you see up there, March 6th. 1500 UTC, which I believe is 8 a.m. Mountain Time, if that works for anybody. Any questions, comments?
What do you think?
All right, if you have questions, comments, tonight, 8 o'clock, here, there's a working technical meeting with WLAN AV.